Hi guys, building custom truck is always winning, losing, spending much time on some details and stuff. Last time on a trail when I, let's say, broken my front axle, I also had some issues with my truck flipping backwards on uphills, and I didn't like it actually. That is why I decided to do something with it, and I will try to show you what I need to do and what I decided to do and what was the root cause of this problem. The problem is the following: it's a rear axle links geometry issue. So here is the mounting point of upper links, here is the mounting point of the lower links, and as you can see there is not enough vertical separation between these mounting points. That is why rear suspension doesn't work as it should under full throttle and when going forward. So what I'm having now is when I hit the gas, front of the truck goes up, and my truck just flips over when the hill is quite steep. To solve this issue, I will need to raise these mounting points of the links, but as I showed you before, I have my battery located under the front seats, and here is the battery tray of the truck, and as you can see, link locations are under this battery tray. So to move them, to install them higher, to connect, I will need to do something with this battery tray. So for instance, if I just raise them, I will not have enough space for the battery itself. It's let's say the first point. The second one, I can go another route. I can shorten these links and mount them somewhere here, I believe. So let's say I can mount them somewhere here, for example. So it will be enough link separation, but again, they will be too short, and when suspension uncycles, the pinion angle will differ. So on full compression, let's say, the pinion will change its angle against the transfer case, let's say, and it will not work as it should work. So it's not the way that I will choose. That is why I decided just to remove it completely and to relocate my battery up front. To do it, I will have to redo all the front part of my chassis. So first of all, I will use some custom shock towers, let's call them. I had them laying around from some previous build, so not a lot of work to install them here. Also, I will need to do something with my transmission location. I will need to do some custom plates to accommodate transmission and motor under the hood of the truck. What are the difficulties? Initially I had this battery sitting here, just on top of a transfer case. and all the space was kind of free, so I had my servo installed like this, like on scx10 tool. My motor was located here, right, like this. So I had enough space here for complete 0-inch laying flat onto the hood. And the transmission itself, it was installed like this, kind of like this, and some EAC on top of the transmission, so I have enough free space to install all of these components. And now when relocating the battery, I have limited space in front of the truck, so it's body of the truck, yeah, and here we have enough space to accommodate the battery, so it will be located like this. And if I place the battery like this on the body, yeah, so it will be here on the chassis. We have not too much space to install transmission and motor and servo. So what I decided to do is to take the transmission, yeah, install it like this, so somewhere here, and to install the motor here up front, a little bit lower than it was before, and to do this, to position it under the hood, properly position it under the hood, I will need to do some custom motor mount from aluminum. I believe it will be 2 pieces. So one, just a second, so one piece will be here, let's say before the spur gear, and the second piece will be here after the gear. They will be bolted together, and I believe I will fabricate some angles to mount this motor plate directly on frame. So the motor will be screwed to this mounting, and the transmission itself, so only this plate will hold the weight of transmission and motor, and I will not have to use some stock mounting points of transmission. Putting transmission like this will allow me to put the battery here like this. So I will use some shorter screws here, so to save space and to make it be more inclined to the front of the chassis. Also, after this, I will have enough free space here to put the electronics under the bonnet. As for servo, I'm planning to install it somewhere here, just a little bit higher than on stock scx10 tool. But anyway, I believe I will have enough space to do it. So what I need to do is to fabricate some motor mount and motor plate, let's say, for this motor. After it, if I will not have enough free space here under the hood in front, I can use a shorter motor. I installed the front axle for mock-up and some shocks, links. So now I can position all the components that I need to place under the hood of the truck. So as for transmission itself, it should be position somewhere here, and something like this. So I will need to choose the right position for it. So I will have enough up travel on the front axle and enough space for drive shaft to be cleared. So now it's full compression of the front axle, and on full compression, just a second, I will need it to be something like this. We actually like this, so I will need to trim the frame rail a little bit here inside. There's kind of lip on both ends, on both sides of frame rail, so I will need to chop it a little bit. And as for now, I believe I will relocate the shock 2 holes upper to be more close to maximum up travel, I believe. So I will not have to do it by hand. Okay, now axle is closer to the frame rails. Now it's almost as it should be in terms of up traveling. So I believe the maximum distance between the axle and between the front axle and the frame rail will be something like this. I believe it will be enough for this truck. I just mounted it a little bit higher for more comfortable mock-up work. Okay, now axle is positioned. We will need to position the tranny itself. So I see it something like this. I have some free space here inside the frame rail. I have enough space between the spur gear and frame rail, and between spur gear and axle, so it will not wrap. And also the, let's say, middle drive shaft will be positioned quite well. I will have enough space for battery here up top, so it also will sit quite low. There is no interference between the transmission and front drive shaft, so it's also okay. I think I will move it a little bit closer to this side. I will need to fine-tune it with a motor mount when it will be ready. Anyway, I want to chop the excess piece of frame rail here, I mean the lip, so the tranny can sit closer to the frame rail and leave enough space for drive shaft from this side, because also I will need to have some free space for third link to the front axle, because I have like 3 links set up with Panhard. Yes, for the motor itself. If I position it here like this, I will have enough space in between the motor and the axle. there is no clearance issues, it's okay. But I believe I will need shorter motor, because in this position like this I will not be able to put the body on top of the motor, because actually the front piece of the body and of the hood, the radiator grill, let's call it like this, is in line with the beginning of the frame rail. So in this case I believe I will use 540 motor instead of this 550. But anyway, to be sure that I will have to do it, first I need to install transmission with the motor on the chassis using some custom motor plate and mountings for this motor plate. I believe I will be able to mount it to this shock towers, to bolt it all together, to do maybe some kind of strut brace, maybe to reinforce the whole thing. And after I will finish with this front part of this, I will be going to the rear part. And yes, as for servo, I will fabricate some custom servo mounting, I believe. And I'm planning to put the servo here up front, to position it somewhere here. So in front of transmission it will be some tight fit, I believe, but I'm sure I will have enough space to do it. We will not have a place for servo winch under the hood. I believe I will be able to relocate it somewhere under the seats, maybe, to put it somewhere here instead of battery pack. But it's under the question, will I install it or no? Okay, the time has come for some innovative technologies. To start off, we will need two pieces of aluminum. It's 2 millimeters thick, and you may ask why do I need them. This piece will be for the motor itself, so motor mount. This piece will be for transmission mount, and then we will screw them together, and it will be our custom drivetrain mount. Okay, to proceed with this one, what we will need, yes, as for dimensions, this one is 73 by 50 millimeters. The small one is 50 by, so now it's 50 by 38. Actually, it should be something like this motor. It's 36 in diameter, so something like this. Okay, going forward with modern technologies, we will need this piece of paper scotch and paper tape, something like this. Then we will glue it to our piece of aluminum. Why do we do it? Just to be able to mark it with a pencil, because if we use something else, it will dirt our fingers and nothing more. And when you're working with this paper tape, it's more convenient. because you always see what you marked and stuff. We will do the same with this piece. So now we have two pieces. I decided to position this transmission like this. I will try to show you from the top. So something like this. So have our construction more rigid. I mean motor mount and tranny mount. I'm planning to use the frame rail as a support for it, so it will be placed on frame rail, and we will have some bracket from this piece to shock mount to position it properly against the chassis. Now I just cut it to be almost the same width as our chassis, a little bit, this piece is a little bit wider than the chassis, but we can grind the excess off. So anyway, now what we will need to do to position something like this, but a little bit lower. We will take our transmission and try to measure the distance. I will show you which one. So we position our tranny on the chassis. It will be something like this. So it's properly positioned. And now we will measure the distance between the inside of the frame rail and this bearing on the output shaft of the tranny. You can use caliber or whatever you want. I'm using just a ruler. So it's 17 millimeters. And the frame rail itself is almost 6. At least it's 5 millimeters in width. Yes, 6 plus 17, it's 23 from this line. As we measured, we have 17 millimeters from this side of the bearing to the inside part of the frame rail, plus the width of the frame rail itself, it's 6 millimeters, plus 17 here, it's 23 millimeters. Now we will mark this distance on our plate. Do it the more convenient way that you use. Why do we need this line? When we have it, we have dimensions of this bearing, it's 10 millimeters. So we will drill a hole to accommodate this bearing, and before we do it, we need to measure all other distances to position this plate properly, and maybe to give it a minor cut, so it will be installed between the frame rails. Okay, so now I will measure the next distance we need. Millimeters is top part, right? And we'll try to measure the top part of spur gear. Let's add some millimeters up top of this mounting, so it will be the highest point of the mountain, and spur gear should be lower. So if top part of spur gear is like 32, 31, let's do it 35, 34. I believe 34 will be enough. Part will be between the frame rails. It's a baseline for it. And if we install the transmission to this plate, we will have the following picture, let's see. So when it's bolted together, the spur gear will be like inside of this top part, inside this top part. So in future we can do some kind of cover and something like this to cover spur gear and have let's say a safe space below the spur gear for wiring somewhere on the body, because anyway we'll have to fabricate something to cover the spur gear. We'll have to mark the center line for this shaft. As already mentioned, we had 14 millimeters to the upper point of the bearing from the line of chassis rail, so I will mark it. This width is 10 millimeters. It's like size of the bearing. Now we have to put 14 millimeters here and mark the center for the shaft. Mark the middle. It will be intersection of these ones. And you may ask, why should I use the bearing here? But as it's stock scx10 strain, I mean original CX10, the top shaft bearing, which is placed inside the case, is quite stressed, and we need to support that bearing. And by installing the additional one bearing here and making it tight fit into this tranny mount, we will prevent the top shaft from excess play, because now I have like new bearings inside, but it has some play in it. And when you use the bearing here, we have no end play of the shaft. It will help us. It will allow us to install this gearbox closer to the frame rail, because we will have no extra movement of the shaft, and will help us to keep this trainee in a good condition for many trail kilometers. Okay, so now as we mark this, it will be something like this. Yeah, as you can see, we will have some space on top to maybe use some cover or something like this. The next step, after I drill the hole, I will need to drill some holes using this pattern, right? Using this pattern of the stock trainee. I will take the stock motor plate of the scx10 and just use it as a template for these holes. Okay, mark this plate, so it's the width of frame rail, it's like 6 millimeters here, and distance between frame rails in that part of the chassis is 61 millimeters in my case. So here we have 61 millimeters. So this piece needs to be chopped off as this piece. So after it I can install this plate between the frame rails. Now I will try to measure the distances and maybe for this plate, and after it I can proceed with cutting excess pieces off, and I will show you what I've got as a result. Okay guys, as for the motor plate, it's 18 millimeters from this edge, and this edge is 6 millimeters from the side of the plate. We will need to trim this off. It's for the frame rail, so it sits like this on the frame rail. And now this intersection is for motor shaft. I will do it using 5 millimeters drill, or maybe a little bit more, to accommodate the shaft of the motor. I will continue with fabrication and try to film it for you.